How to master your prioritization of work. I've just finished a workshop with some managers at Channel 4, helping them work smarter. And I've been running a lot of sessions for the Financial Times, helping their managers sustain their productivity through hybrid. And both sessions are really characterized by giving people a brain-based toolkit of skills and strategies to upgrade how they work. But both sessions, in fact, repeated sessions, I'm doing one of the biggest challenges that come up for people, managers in particular, is consistently prioritizing their work, prioritizing the stuff that makes the biggest difference. Perhaps prioritization is something you've been struggling with as well. And up to a point, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Most of us feel we have demanding workloads, and the greater our workload, the more competition there is for our energy, for our attention. Now, the problem is most of us respond by just trying to work harder. That, my friend, is not the solution. So in this video, I want to give you really some top tips, the things you need to get better at if you want to master your prioritization of work. Step number one, get clarity on your goals. Goal setting is so important, and yet it's so rarely done well. The first step in prioritizing more effectively, indeed working smarter more generally, is getting clarity on your goals, your desired outcomes. What we all need to do basically is become more outcome oriented, right? Less reactive, less responding to inboxes and meetings, and instead become a bit more deliberate with how we spend our time, our energy and attention. And the very first step to that has to be clarity on our goals. Now, goals are all too often just left to the domain of management and setting business KPIs and objectives. You need to become someone that owns the process yourself. And there are a few things I would suggest you need to get better at. Number one, getting clarity on long-term goals. That's where the conversation has to begin. Then getting clarity on your year goals, really no more than 5. And then, this is big, getting clarity, always having clarity on your quarter goals. What are the 3 priorities, 3 key goals you're working towards this quarter, and what progress will you have made on each by the end of the quarter? That, my friend, is the very first step. Do that now. 3 quarter goals. What are you focusing on? Step number 2. Now you need to get better at mastering your prioritization each day. You've got clarity on your goals. Now what? Well, one of the most valuable tools with which to improve your prioritization of work is applying consistently the 80-20 rule. Pareto's principle. You've probably heard of it. You can probably define it. 20% of what you do generates 80% of your results. Let's sit with that for a minute. 20% of everything you do at work generates about 80% of your results, your impact, your value, your progress towards your goals. 80% of everything you do doesn't really matter very much. It's important, but it just doesn't compare. So you now need to do an 80-20 analysis to understand, well, what are your most valuable tasks and activities? I'd encourage you to do that now. Pause the video, create 2 columns, and simply spend 5-10 minutes identifying the tasks and activities that you feel are more valuable than anything else. You'll probably come up with things like strategic thinking and goal setting, planning, improving systems and processes, building and nourishing relationships, learning, developing systems, upgrading how you work. Maybe it's delegating, maybe it's having one-to-ones. There's a whole heap of things that are simply more valuable, more impactful than others. They have a disproportionate return and often an ongoing return. Well, they should be your priorities, shouldn't they? The problem lots of people have is these high value tasks and activities tend to share certain, let's face it, unhelpful characteristics. They're never urgent. No one ever asks you to do them. They tend not to have an immediate return. In fact, most of them don't even complete, right? They're ongoing processes rather than tasks you tick off. So suddenly there's a risk. If you prioritize things only because they're urgent, you're forgetting the most important things. If you prioritize your inbox over your planning, you're prioritizing the wrong things. And suddenly, if you find yourself having a completion bias, erring towards things that you can tick off because they feel good, once again, the risk is you're not prioritizing the things that have the greatest value, impact, and meaning, which also means your emotional relationship with work is probably being compromised. So that, my friend, is step 2. You want to get better at prioritizing your work. Yep, get clarity on your goals, your desired outcomes, but then work to the 80-20 principle. Identify your most valuable tasks and activities and prioritize them. Be very wary of the illusion of effectiveness simply because you're getting a lot of things done. Not all tasks are equal. And then step 3, how do you prioritize your work? Well, you get clarity on your goals, you master the 80-20 analysis, and then you get better at planning. Step 3 has to be consistent, effective, strategic planning. Everyone knows it's important. Very few people do it very well. And if there's one thing I'd share with you today, the thing that can transform everything in terms of your daily prioritization and effectiveness is simply to plan 1, 2, or 3 most valuable tasks each day, i.e., each day you start already knowing your 3 priorities. I think it was Jim Collins that said it first. If you have more than 3 priorities, you don't have any. That's relevant when you're designing your quarters and you're setting your 3 quarter goals. And it's arguably even more relevant when you're designing and planning your days. Start each day knowing your 3 priorities, your 3 high value tasks. Once you've completed them, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment and progress. You'll be right, which will also increase the likelihood that at the end of the day, you give yourself permission to switch off. Another key challenge that lots of people are currently having. So quick recap, it's simple stuff, but so rarely done well and so rarely done systematically. You want to get better at prioritizing your work. There are 3 things you need to get better at. Number 1, getting clarity on your goals and being outcome oriented. The big hitter there is 3 quarter goals. Number 2, getting better at prioritizing based on value and impact and meaning, not just urgency. The 80-20 analysis can really help you there. Step number 3, planning, making sure your priorities actually go in your calendar and do so consistently so that each day, each week, each month, each quarter, you're spending the right amount of energy on the right things. That's really all working smarter involves, but there are, as you now know, a few steps. All right, well, I hope you found this video useful. Let me know if you have. I know we haven't spoken about focus. I know that distraction is one of people's other key challenges, but I'll do another video on that. What does the psychological science say about how to improve your focus, how to improve your concentration, how to manage distractions, and ultimately, what is the science of getting 8 hours work done in just 6 hours every day? Another video on that soon. Until then, take it easy.